everybody, this is the Sliders Review. I'm here today to talk about Black History Month, the month that is a celebration of my people, because I am a black man and everything. And it's about all our accomplishments, all the oppression that we have gone through over like centuries of living in like America and stuff like that. And even till this day, we are still being oppressed. And so I'm here today to talk to you about certain characters or TV shows or episodes that revolve around Black History Month that I personally enjoy. So I'm here today to talk to you about House Party, the original 1990 movie, not the 2023 remake slash sequel reboot that they just named House Party. I hate when they do this crap now, man. They did the same thing with like Scream 5. Like Scream 5 was just called Scream. Like, no, it's not. The first Scream is called Scream. I hate when they do this crap, when they try to reboot something but also make it a sequel. But anyways, there have been 6 movies total of the entire franchise, but the most fond one most people have is the first one. I think the first one is actually the only one I've ever seen. My family was never big on going to like the movie theaters and stuff, so whenever it came on TV, like I watched it and stuff, and it is one of the most hilarious movies of all time. Back in that era, and still considered today one of the funniest movies because it's the satire on realistic events that happen in Black culture. Even though I've never seen 4 through 6, I've seen the trailers and they just look like an abomination. And like they just do not look good whatsoever. My thing is like this: if Kid and Play are not in the movie and they're just there for a cameo at the end, then it should not be considered House Party. And as for the last one that was produced by James LeBron, and how he was actually in the movie kinda, and it was nothing more, but all it really was celebrity cameos from every rapper you can think of. And that's not House Party. Like, before I go into this movie, look, this is how like the next House Party movie should be. Movie 4 through 6 do not exist. The cameos that Kid and Play had in those do not exist. Basically, make a 4th movie that is connected to the original ones. But if you want to make this a / new reboot, then do it to where the cliche thing. Have their kids, just have them have kids and everything. Like, let's see what Kid and Play has been up to now that they're adults, and now that they tried to learn the lessons that their parents tried to teach them back in the older movies. Now that they have kids, and their kids are starting to make the same mistakes that they did back in the day, and now Kid and Play see that what their parents were talking about made sense and everything. But just don't have it be like that. Like, let it have an actual message. Let it be funny. Let it come full circle. And then if they want to make the new trilogy based on the kids, then have at it. You know what I'm saying? And so that's really how it should be. And Kid and Play, in my opinion, should not be friends 20, 30 something years later, because, let it be dramatic and everything. Let's say they're like, I don't know, say their kids are like a boy and a girl and they just want to like get together or whatever, but both of the parents are opposed to that, or something interesting, something different that's just not a bunch of kids being in the house and partying while the parents not there. Why? Because the thing about the first movie that a lot of people overlook is that when you ask people what the first House Party is about, most people are just going to say, oh, it's a bunch of kids just partying in the house while the parents are not there. Technically, that is true, but that is the B plot. The movie is actually somewhat, I like to think of, a coming of age. It revolves around one central character, Kid. Basically, it's the like trials and tribulations of his life and him trying to get to his destinational goal. But he has all the obstacles getting in his way. And, the plot moves along for his character arc because of, and I'll get into that a little bit later. So, this movie came out in 1990. And originally, the director and writer, Reginald Hudlin, he came up with this in college in 1983. And it was a short film. He was given some money about the life of this one character, trying to get to like a party and stuff like that, which is just the premise of the first movie. So I've never seen the short movie. I have no idea if it's on YouTube. I just now found out about the short film. Did I say short party? Did I really just say short party? The short film. I just now found out about it like just a few seconds ago. And something else I just figured out is that I always wonder something. Why wasn't Will Smith in this? There are a lot of famous black celebrities in here, mostly those that are like rappers and DJs and stuff. I'm all like, where's Will Smith at? And ironically, this movie was supposed to be written around Will Smith and DJ Jazzy. Is it Jazzy Fresh or Jazzy Jazz? I forget. Jazz. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was supposed to revolve around their characters and stuff, but then it later got changed to Kid and Play. And I always wondered, where is Will? Will would have been perfect in this movie, and so would like Jazz and stuff. And now I know, like, a little bit more interesting that, what would it have been like if they would have starred in that, I wonder. Because it's perfect just the way it is, but it makes you now wonder, you know what I'm saying? And so Will probably didn't take it at that time because, like, one reason, like, he almost didn't even take the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air because he felt he wasn't ready because he hasn't done that much acting. But Quincy Jones convinced him and pretty much gave him an ultimatum and everything. Like, Will's like, just give me like 10 days to learn how to act and this and that. And Quincy's all like, look, man, I flew all these people out here to see you and blah, blah, blah. And I need an answer here and now. And Will's like, all right, fine, I'll do it, with no acting experience. I had to learn as he went along with the show. So that's probably one reason why he's not in this movie. Now, the movie stars, because the central characters are, of course, Kid and Play. Both names of Christopher in real life. And Martin Lawrence, Tisha Campbell, and AJ Johnson. And so, like, it has a bunch of other celebrities in it, but these are the main central people. They are the ones that help, like, get the, like, story moving and this and that. Now, what's really interesting about this movie is its cultural significance. In fact, just last year in 2022, no, that wasn't last year. What year is this now? Is it 2020? Yeah, it's 2023. Man, I'm getting my years confused in there. I keep thinking it's 2024 for some reason. But just last year in 2022, what was it? The National Film Registry wanted to add this, like, the Library of Congress as for its, like, historical, like, cultural, like, significance and everything. That is huge because a lot of, like, when people watch this movie, not like a lot of people who didn't grow up in, say, like, urban society, in the hood, in the ghetto, in the projects, whatever you want to call it, doesn't even matter what race you are. People who did not grow up in that lifestyle, when watching this movie, people just assume, oh, they're just poking fun and making stuff up. Nobody really knew this is the lifestyle that a lot of people have to go through. And I remember when I saw it, I was thinking, oh, they're just making fun of stuff and stuff. 20 something years, 20, 30 something years later, boy, the wake up call came to call it. The both stuff I saw, like, on the news and stuff I experienced in real life. And so then I realized, oh crap, they was like teaching me a lesson this whole time and I didn't even know it. And so that's one thing that's both good and bad about this movie. It's funny because it's satire on urban living and stuff like that. And they poke fun at it for you to, like, chuckle and stuff. But at that same time, they're really teaching you a lesson. And because the people are too busy laughing at it, people aren't really taking none of this stuff seriously. So that's only one downside I have about that movie. And another one could be, this movie can be a bit problematic at times because they use a couple of slurs here and there. And sadly, those were just the times back in those days. And, I just wish people would stop using slurs. There's never a reason for that. Come up with a brand new word. That's my thing. You know what I'm saying? And so, like, the cultural significance of this is what Black people have to go through in America when we are free and when we are more respected now than what we were back hundreds of years ago. Like, they showed the emphasis of different types of black people. People always assume that there's only one type of black people, that they only talk a certain way, or they wear their clothes a certain way, or the type of music and stuff like that. But this one wanted to show the different aspect of many different black cultures. You have obviously, like, you have like the more ghetto side of black people with some characters. You have like you have your angry black man. You have what you could call like a ratchet type woman. You have like, your ghetto princess and everything. You have dudes that are from like the hood and everything, but they're not like thugs and everything. They just have like a poor background living. You have like your players. You have like, your thugs, and then you have those type of black people that are like, very preppy, and they use like a lot of big words and stuff like that. Or you have like, say, like a black person who did not grow up in the hood or the projects, and they grew up in a very nice neighborhood, but for whatever reason they want to relate to like, the ghetto and everything, and they hang out with people from there, and they fit in. You think they are, but then you see where they live at and be like, wow, why are you talking like that for and acting like that for, and you ain't even from here and stuff. And so it has different like facets of like black culture and people and stuff, and that's what I find very fascinating, and it's really good for like a teaching lesson, because people always assume black people there's only one type, just like for other races. People assume there's only one type of white, one type of Asian, one type of like Hispanic, one type of like Indian, Italian, all this other stuff, And so a lot of people always think this is like stereotype, but like I said before, stereotypes, even though they are stereotypes and they are stereotypes on TV and movies, stereotypes come from that real life events, and they just use it for like, art and everything. And so, like, what is it? Another fascinating thing about this movie is the historical cultural significance of it all, because you see how black people are treated and stuff, especially by non-like black people. The white cops are like a perfect example of that. The white cops are made to be the butt of like the joke, and you see them constantly harassing black people just walking down the street, asking on what you doing, walking in this neighborhood when it's our black neighborhood, and they came and walking around at night. From them, like for a bunch of like boys getting into trouble, trespassing somebody's yard, and them pulling guns on people. From them not even taking them to like, the jail cell to book them, but instead taking them to an isolated like area of town, and then just beating the crap out of them and stuff. And it's like, this movie explains all that, but in a very hysterical kind of way. And it's extremely funny, but then you stop and realize, oh, wait, this stuff happens in real life, And so, like, sometimes humor can be a great way to, like, educate people, but then at the same time, it can't, you know what I'm saying? And so, like, another thing that they show and make fun of is just like ghetto style like living. Like, there's that scene where like, that black man is like banging his woman and then kid accidentally like spies on them, and then like, the thugs end up like the bullies and stuff, they end up like spying on him, and then all of a sudden he just cavalier like just pulls out a gun and starts shooting at him and stuff like that. And that was like one of the most hilarious, like, a lot of random stuff just happens in this movie, and it's always hilarious, but this is things that really happen in real life. I still remember to this day that whole Kool-Aid scene. Like when Shireen's brother made Kool-Aid, he poured all that sugar in there. And of course, black people, we love our Kool-Aid, man. And like I said before, like, yeah, it might be a stereotype, but it's based on real events. I still drink mine till this day. And I will never forget that. That's still really the only thing about like House Play I remember from back in the day. I just rewatched it now, and I just still remember that scene and everything. And it reminds me of this story Head Crack told on Dish Nation for the Ricky Smiley show. Years ago, Head Crack was talking about how he made Kool-Aid for like, I guess like his dad and uncle, stuff like that. They was somewhere out and about. And you know how, and then, so they wanted to make Kool-Aid. So him being a kid went to the bathroom and used the water out the toilet tank to make the Kool-Aid and gave it to them. Now, technically, plumbers have said many times that the water in the tank is actually clean and fresh because it comes from, like, the reservoir and everything. But the inside of the tank itself is disgusting and nasty. Ugh. Ugh. God. Anyways, so like Tisha Campbell, she plays Sydney. Martin Lawrence, I can't even pronounce the name Martin Lawrence character is played. I don't remember them calling him that. It's Billy or something like that. I don't know. I'm just gonna call him Martin the entire time. And then there's Shireen, played by AJ Johnson. And of course, Kid and Play just play themselves. But they play fictional characters of themselves. You have Kid who like is like the good kid, the good kid and stuff like that. He wants to do a lot of good stuff, but bad things just always happen to him. Then you have Kid who's more like your player type. He sweet talks women, he sweet talks his friends, he gets what he always wants. He's selfish and he only cares about like himself and he uses women. You have like Shireen, who is like, she's kind of like a ghetto princess and everything. It's like she has these good intentions. She doesn't do anything bad, but people can consider her a little ratchety and everything. Donna, who has a small role in this, who's one of plays like, women that he like, gets with and stuff. She is considered more like your ratchet, like ghetto type. Like she looks like she could be like the supermodel type, but she's just rude and nasty and she'll pop off at somebody. Whereas Shireen, she is more polite, but she looks like, she came straight from the hood because she does. She has like family, she had like 100 family members all living in the same house and stuff like that. Then you have Sydney's character by that of Tisha Campbell. And she played this perfectly. She had that sweet innocence about her, that naivete about her. And the thing you realize is that you assume she comes from like the hood and everything, and talking about she don't like her clothes, and her friends like, oh, it's okay, Kmart clothes, this and that. But then you find out her family actually comes from money and wealth, and her family goes to these swanky, like rich, like club type like parties and stuff. Country club type stuff. And then you have Martin Lawrence character, who is your typical angry black man, but he's one of those type of people who wants to be successful in the business that he runs, being a DJ and stuff, but he's always angry and he's always popping off the mouth and stuff like that. Then you have the bullies in the movie who are just about as ghetto can be, to the point where they are literally just thugs who want to make everybody's life miserable because their life is miserable and stuff. Now, like I said before, this does revolve around an actual house party. Play is having the house to himself because his parents are out of town. And so he throws a party. And before I go any further, let me give it up to John Witherspoon and let me give it up to that of Robin Harris. Two of the funniest people in this movie, both have sadly died. John passed away, I think, last year, and Robin actually passed away a few months after, or a few days after the movie came out from a heart attack. And I knew when I saw this movie, like his eyes, something was wrong with his eyes, and he looked tired and stuff. He didn't look healthy. His eyes were kind of like bloodshot red and stuff like that. And I was just kind of like, something is off with this dude. And then he died like a couple of days later. So sad and tragic, and may they both rest in peace. And it was so funny. John, oh my God, that dude just rambles. I don't even know what he really be talking about, but he's just so funny and stuff like that. And so, like, it does revolve around that of a house party, but like I said before, it revolves around Kid. He is the driving force of really this movie. It starts with his character, it ends with his character, and all throughout the movie, it revolves around his character. Basically, he has a goal of just getting to this house party. Now, what's interesting that a lot of people don't realize is that he doesn't really make his own character progress through this movie. It's not him driving his character, it's actually the bullies. The bullies is the one who set everything in motion that revolves around Kid having to go through this big obstacle of getting to the party. First, he's invited to the party, but and I think like he asked his dad or something like that. And so he knows he's going to that party, but then the bullies pick on him during like lunch at school, which causes him to get in trouble with the principal. So from there on, he has to prevent his dad from getting that message. He assumes it's gonna be a phone call, but then later on it's actually a letter through the mail. I think they did used to do crap like that through the mail, but then now they just do phone calls and stuff. And so this now prevents him from going to that party because he is now grounded. But of course, he's just gonna sneak out when his dad is asleep. His dad finds out and wakes up. And so Kid is now on his way to the party, but he's being harassed by a bunch of cops. And after that, he finds the bullies, and the bullies once again set him in motion for him being somewhat late to the party. He's running around in the neighborhood. He jumps over a fence, and there he gets in trouble by the cops once again because he interrupts this swanky type party. But while he's there, before he gets in trouble, like I said before, the bullies push his narrative forward to the point where he sees this DJ and he wants to rap because he has stage fright. And this is something that was addressed early on in the movie. So he's trying to prove himself but can't do it. Some more shenanigans happen and now the cops get called. Ironically, Sydney's parents are at this party and stuff, but they don't want to press charges. So the cops realize the bullies were the one at fault. So they make both parties go their separate ways. So now Kid is finally at the party. Now he wants to just do his thing. He wants to meet and greet. He wants to get with some ladies, and he wants to rap and everything and outshine that of Play. And it's even to the point where they have a rap off and everything. And so while he's there, he's trying to get with some women because he wants to, seal the deal, if you will, and everything. And so he doesn't really care what female he gets. He just wants one. But then his focus turns to that of Sydney. So he's trying to put the moves on her, and he has to walk her home and stuff. Because something happens to where she gets uncomfortable and she wants to go home, but I think it's him that has to walk her there. So he walks her back home. And so while they're there, he's trying to get with her. But at first there's a little bit of an obstacle because, first she doesn't want to be with him. And of course the bullies try to crash the party and stuff like that. So anyways, when they're about to do it, because she finally gave in and everything, but then the parents show up. So now it's the obstacle of him trying to evade the parents and head back to the party, only for the bullies to mess it up once again with him. And it's now to the point where he gets arrested. And mind you, he has to get home at a certain time to make sure his dad does not wake up and see he's not there, because his dad's supposed to take extra hours at his job overnight and stuff. But the dad is pissed and looking for him walking around at night and also getting harassed by the cops and stuff like that. And so because of this, now he has to get bailed out of jail. And this is where his friends come in, Play and Martin and even the two girls and stuff. And so they have to now get up all this bail money for him. And so, this is also the bullies push the narrative forward because now he's late from getting home for getting his butt whooped by that of his dad. And so after they bail him out, everybody's they start talking this and that. And because at first, I think, both girls tried to get with the same guy. And so, but then they realized, okay, whatever, you want him, and fine, I'll get the other stuff like that. And because Play, being a player, he tried to get with both ladies and stuff. This is what later caused Sydney to want to go with Kid, because she realized Kid isn't the player type. She's not the smooth talking type. And so after saying goodbye to everybody, he finally gets home to sneak back in his house. His mission is accomplished. He got to go to the party. He got to rap. He got to mingle. He almost got himself some. And now he's about to be safe home while his dad is supposedly out asleep or at work, only for him to take off his clothes and realize his dad is waiting for him in his room with a big giant belt. And he is about to go old school on his son. Also, one thing that they emphasize on is being in jail. You don't want to go there because there's a possibility you could be assaulted, either physically or sexually. And he was almost like, assaulted. And while the bully's also in jail, they don't really do nothing to him. Maybe they tell like the other guys in jail, like, oh, this guy's like soft and everything. And so then they try to like get him as opposed to getting anybody else. Other characters in here, like I said before, you have Martin who strikes out because his breath is stanky and stuff. You have like Shireen who wants to get with Play, but Play's too much of a player, and you just have Play just being like the wingman to like everybody. And so this movie is just like hilarious. It's funny. It's like realistic, but also fictional at the same time. But it's one of those cultural phenomenons that like, even though people have forgotten about this movie, every once in a while, like it pops back up in people's head, mainly when they know like a sequel is coming out. And the sequel, it has nothing to do with the original cast. And it's just like complete and utter, like it looks like garbage. Plain and simple as that. 4 through 6, those trailers just look like garbage. Happy Black History Month, everybody. I'll talk to you later. Bye.